Welcome back to Pine Tree State Restorations and the vintage 1860s Civil War boot pistol. Not a little history on this gun. I bought this gun a couple of days ago from a good friend at Wildwoods Gun Shop in South China, Maine. Probably my best friend around. He's just the greatest guy. His name is Craig Taylor, and he owns Wildwoods Gun Shop. And he just bought out an estate sale from a lawyer, and this pistol was in that sale, and I seen it and I said I'd like to have that. At first I thought it was just a cheap kit gun and nothing special, until I started looking at it really close. There's no name on it, manufacturer's name. There's no proof marks, and I'm like, wait a minute, what's going on here? I got to looking a little closer and I realized this gun is a Civil War gun. And how I know that is I'm a machinist by trade, and there's not a single tool mark on this gun. This gun was hand cut, hand forged, hand punched out, hand filed to shape, the whole 9 yards. Even the trigger guard is hammered over, no screws. They just peened it over on there. You can see stress marks in the frame right above the trigger guard there, and even the screws are homemade. You can tell by the top of the hammer. Same thing. If I can get her to focus here, you can see the file marks. You can see all the marks in the hammer where it's been filed and ground by hand and put together. Now, another thing I can tell is this whole thing's made out of really soft iron, really soft, like butter. So originally I took it to work, the barrel to work, and I was just going to clean the barrel up because the bore is horrible. And thought, well, it's just a kit gun. I'll get it going and I'll get it running and I'll shoot it. It's kind of cool. It's a little boot pistol. Kind of cool. But then I got the barrel to work and I took the rust off. I took some fine steel wool and I found a name right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it says LP Sweat. Now that's engraved in the barrel by hand with some kind of wood chisel or knife or whatever. And then if you look around the other side, you'll see, if I could find it here, there's some hash marks right here where someone filed some marks in the bottom corner of the barrel. Does that mean how many people he's killed with it? Probably. Or how many shootouts he got into with it? Probably. So this gun was made in the 1860s for sure. And it is a boot pistol from the Civil War. There was many of them made, and they're all very similar to this design. I think it was one from the South, but it could be a northern one, but it looks kind of southern, but it could be from the South. But here's the deal. The guy's name, LP Sweat, I found him on the internet, and he was in the Civil War. Okay? In 1863 or 1864. And he lived in South Paris, Maine. And in 1902, he was in his 50s. He won a race at a famous raceway in South Paris in one of those old steam-powered boxy race cars. That's how I found him, in the Paris Chronicles from 1902, and that's how I found out who this guy was. So, being that he was from Maine, in South Paris, Maine, and he was in the Civil War, I found that out as well. That's kind of cool. So this, tying a gun to a guy, to a name, to a war, to a bit of history is kind of neat. And the hash marks on the barrel, the 5 hash marks, I don't know if that was the shootouts he got in, or how many times he had to pull this gun in the card game, or he shot 5 people with it as a backup when he was in the Civil War and he pulled it out. Who knows? Guns could only talk, right? So anyway, I once I discovered that, I had already took some steel wool and I polished that off, and I already recrowned the barrel because the barrel was just, it's horrible on the inside. It's just crusty. So I got to looking at it, I go, dang, if I'd have known that, I probably wouldn't have cleaned it up at all. But so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish getting the crust off it, just the crust. I'm not going to remove any metal. I'm just going to get the crust off like I did on the barrel. And then I'm going to try and get that grip off, but it probably won't come off without a lot of work because the screws are so shallow and they're probably stuck. If I can get it off, I'm going to clean it, take it apart, and get the mechanism clean. It does work. I'll show you. She works. Okay? So I'd like to take it apart. I'd like to clean it. You know, polish the action a little bit, get it running a little smoother. And then I'm going to rust blue it. I'm going to have to build me a sweat box, which basically is a 100-watt light bulb with a pan of water over it. And I'll put some rust blue on it, and I'll sweat it in a sweat box 2 or 3 times and get it back to the original finish like they did in the Civil War. It was always rust blue. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to put it back together, and then I'm going to shoot it. Now, one of the other problems I have with it is the bore. The bore is, you know, it's rough. I don't know if you can see down in there, but she's like cratered. Okay, I cleaned it out with a wire brush best I could. Let's see if we put it in this side. Wire brush and some Kroil. Pretty crusty in there. I'm probably going to take some 5000 grit sandpaper, diamond paper, and polish that bore out. And I might even ream the bore a little bit at work because I'm a machinist, and get that bore smoother because I'm going to be shooting a patched ball in it. Now, it doesn't matter what size the barrel comes out to. It could be a little bigger than the original diameter of the ball. That doesn't matter because they got thicker patches and I can use a thicker patch. I am going to shoot it, and then I'll clean it right away. But probably 10 or 15 grains of powder max. But this gun, I'm telling you, 100%, this is the real deal. And it's very rare that you find a Civil War pistol at all. And even though this is a boot pistol and they made thousands of them, it's hard to find one working. It's hard to find one with the guy's name. It's hard to find one to trace back. And it's also hard to prove that's a real Civil War gun. But since I know the guy's name and I found him on the web and the history of the gentleman, I'm pretty 99.9% positive this was his gun and this was in the Civil War, and it probably killed 5 people. But that's where we're at. So we're going to take it apart. I'll be doing another video on it. I'm going to be cleaning this up, hopefully getting this grip off. Now the grip, all I'm going to do to that's walnut. All I'm going to do to that is clean it a little bit with some acetone, and then she's going to get a tung oil bath. Nice tung oil that'll keep it from drying out and cracking. It'll get tung oiled. This will get rust browned. If the nipple comes out, I'll take it out, clean it, and put some anti-seize on it and put it back in. If it doesn't come out very good, I'll get it out. And it doesn't take I got 20 different nipple wrenches, but I don't have one that size. That's a weird size. Hopefully I'll have to make something and get it out. Hopefully it'll come out. And then I can replace the nipple with a modern one or one that's in better shape. And then once I get it all done, I will test fire it, see how accurate it is. Probably not very, but I suppose within 7, 10, 15 feet, it's probably accurate enough. And we'll take it from there. So this is what it is. The 1860s, I'm guessing probably 1860, right on the money. Maybe 61 boot pistol. I've seen several of them just like it. Don't know what they go for, but I'm going to get this one running, and I'm going to restore the finish. I'm not going to over-restore it. I'm just going to get it cleaned up and get it back in original condition. I also have a 1863 Springfield rifle that I've been working on, and I found it in the closet, been sitting in there for over 100 years, and it was still loaded, if you can believe that. And I'm working on that as well, but stay tuned. There'll be another video on this gun, maybe 2 videos on this gun, and we got other things coming up. Also, don't forget I have a raffle going on right now, and where you could win a radio, a very nice, probably $300 or $400 radio on eBay in that condition, Sony 8000 shortwave radio receiver that's on right now. That's got probably 25 days, 20 days to go for the raffle, and someone's going to win that radio, and I'm going to ship it to them for free no matter where they are in the world. So thanks again for watching Pine Tree State Restorations and the Civil War boot pistol, and we will see you soon.